Continue, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Corbett Nichols. I'm one of your citizens out in District 3, also one of the veteran advocates here in Wayne County. I would like to go over the qualification change for the county administrator. That was done not in an open meeting. That was done behind closed doors and not brought before the public. This is from the Attorney General's office of Georgia. Gathering of a quorum of the members of the governing body of an agency at which official business, policy, public matter of the agency is formulated, presented, discussed, and voted upon without being an open meeting. Mr. Thomas was the qualifications official of the county administrator.
What's that now?
Were their official qualifications?
At the beginning?
Yes, when you put it out the first
Yes, it
time. Was you notified of any open meetings?
No.
I'll read you subsection B of the OCGA 50-14-1 from the state. Any resolution, rule, regulation, ordinance, or other official action of an agency adopted, taken, or made at a meeting which is not open to the public as required by this chapter shall not be binding. From the Attorney General's office. Well, therefore, by law, we still don't even have a county administrator. Penalties. Any person knowingly and willfully conducting and participating in a meeting in violation of this chapter shall be guilty of a misdemeanor upon conviction, which I'm not here to do that. I don't hold that qualification. Of a misdemeanor. You were the one that presented the contract, ma'am? All right. She's the one that presented you the contract. She made the motion to give it to you, and you seconded it, right? April 28th on the minutes.
I have to go back and read the numbers.
I haven't printed out at the meeting, so.
I know.
Did so knowingly and willfully. This is from the Sheriff's Office, responsibilities. Responsibility of the Sheriff's Office included patrolling county, state, and federal roads and highways. Service of civil process enforcing local, state, and federal laws. By law, you have to investigate it. OCGA 16-10-1 makes it a felony for a commissioner to willfully, intentionally violate their oath. And we all did that. These are cut and clear regulations. We just had an administration that almost ran the county into the ground. And the first chance we get is we go over regulations that are binding by the Georgia State Constitution. Every one of you who seconded that motion is a felon. Cut and clear. And his office has to investigate it by your responsibilities that you put on the internet and your office. But what I recommend, instead of all this crosstalk and things like that, why don't we give the county an example of what's right? They haven't seen it yet. We've had T-SPLOST violations. Nothing was done. We've had so many county violations and budgets and things like that, taxes and everything, ripped from the people. Nothing done. All these promises of openness, transparency and all that, it's a crock of crap. So why don't we rescind that and do what's right? Or there's always an alternative. Now we got up here and said the prayer, the Pledge of Allegiance. At the end of it, it's in justice for all. For all. In the prayer, Jesus once said, the world's going to hate me, and if you love me, it's going to hate you too. And I'm fine with it. I've stood ground on places y'all can't even find on that. Y'all need to do the right thing, because we are watching. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is public meetings. We have none. Consent agenda, we have none. Old business, we have none. Under new business, item A, we have agreement with the Ware County Board of Health and Wellness Program with Wayne County Transit. This is just a renewal. Mr. Thomas and I have been through this a lot. Every year is an annual renewal that we have to do with them to stay in compliance. Everybody had a chance to look over that.
Mr. Chairman, that's a renewal contract this year. That's a big.
Right.
I make a motion to do it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'll second his motion.
Okay.
I can see.
Any comments or concerns? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner McCreary.
Yes. Next item on the agenda, item B, consider and approve Americans with Disabilities Act plan for Wayne County Transit. It's my understanding that after they did an audit on this one, the DOT does an audit and they subcontract it out to RLS. And these are just including some of the updates needed to continue this transit.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve.
I second it. Any comments, concerns? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yeah.
Commissioner McCreary,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes. Item C on the agenda is consider and approve for the HVAC system at the courthouse. This was sent out for bid and we only received one bid. And that was from Robertson's Conditioned Air for $36,416.88. I make a motion that we accept this bid. Any comments? And to clarify, we have a humongous unit in the courthouse and we're having issues with it. The problem with it is nobody can work on it because it's so big. And the reason this one is a little bit higher than normal because of the location that it's in, it will have to be removed, and then the other 3 units will be put back in place for it. Madam Clerk?
I've been in contact with
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon, Commissioner McCreary,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Item D, consider and approve bids for sale of property on parcel numbers J9-11, J13-83, and J8-70. These are the ones that we lowered the last time, Madam Clerk, is that correct?
Yes, and Andy has those bids.
Okay.
On map and parcel, we got one bid on each one of them. On map and parcel J9-11, Ms. Carolyn Cooper put in a bid amount of, the minimum bid was $1,500. She put in a bid of $1,600.no. Typically, y'all, what we do is whenever we require to put a 10% security deposit down, basically we put bids. She actually included a check of $1,760 for this one, but everything she filled out correctly, other than the check in too much. That's the only bid we got on that. You don't want to do these individual or just together?
I think since they're all on the same line item, let's go on and do them all, and then we can approve them all at the same time, if that's okay.
That's J13-83, the minimum bid was $1,000. Ms. Carolyn Cooper is the only bidder on this one as well, and she had a bid amount of $1,100 and put a check in the amount of $1,210 in the bid package. Map and parcel J8-70. Ms. Carolyn Cooper was the only bidder on that one as well. The minimum bid was $1,000. She put in an amount of $1,100, and she included a check in the amount of $1,210 on this one.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the sale of these properties due to the fact that they did meet the minimum requirement, and she has filled out all the proper paperwork. Any comment? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner McCrary,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Those three will go back on the tax books. Item E, consider and approve changing the July meeting date. The July the 4th is on a Tuesday, and our meeting would be on a Monday. Madam Clerk, just put this on there in case anybody had a conflict. We can move that date. I think they work. The county workers do work on that Monday. Does anybody have a conflict? Are you going out of town? Or
I do.
are you good? So what date do we want to move that to? Does that work? Right. Yep, I'm good with it.
We need a motion for that.
Yes, we do.
And I'll make a motion to move the July meeting to the second Monday of the month, which is the 10th of July.
And it'll also be at 6 o'clock in the same room. Any other comments? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner McCrary,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah. Next item on the agenda, consider and approve naming recreation fields. Spec, do you want to, or is he already gone? That's right, well, he was sitting in the back. Yes,
Hey, I'll speak on this, like I said, ma'am.
Push that button. Yeah, thanks, Shelby. Yeah.
I talked to Mike a little bit about, I've talked to Jamie a little about these naming fields after these guys. You know, when I was growing up to the rec department, these guys did a lot of umpiring out there. You know, they was the main one.
Who will be speaking up?
Jimmy Martin, Jimmy Peak, and Jimmy Illustrator. The 3 J's, I reckon you want to call it. And I think, you know, talking to Mike today, I think one of them's been approved already. I don't think it got to us or what happened, it slipped through the cracks or whatever. But I'm all for it. I talked to the Peak family today. They all rather do their own fields, 3 separate fields instead of just one field. We live with that at the ballpark. You know, I said, I'm good with it. Like I said, I talked to Sean. I know, you know, Jimmy did a lot of softball out there, so I figured we did softball field with Bill Martin Park right at Jimmy. And Jimmy Peak did a lot of baseball out there. And I know Jimmy Martin, you know, he worked at the ballpark for years out there also, so we can name another field at Bill Martin Park after, you know, Jimmy Martin. So I'm good with it. And, you know, like I said, I talked to Mike a lot about it. I think he's good with it, so whatever you want to do.
Will you let us know when those are ready and?
Yes. I'd like to get, you know, I'd like to do a dedication. I know Steve Card and Greg Walker have worked with him a lot. I'm gonna see if I can get those 2 cats down and find them and run them down here, and just I'd like to do like a dedication. But you you know, we'll go ahead and start on these signs, go ahead and get these done. I just got the Terry Thompson sign redone, it was kind of faded out, so we just got it redone, took my hand, get this lead. So I think, you know, go ahead and get these signs ordered, and, we'll get with the families and see what we can do. I can do a little presentation for them. You know, I think it's well deserved. You know, I think it's great. So we all for it. So.
In conversation with you today, you said this is the end of the mayor.
Yes,
And
It was.
True, we got dedicated a lot of time.
they sure did. Like I said, you know, it went all up in my high school career. You know, when I was playing ball there, these guys still on fire games out there in high school. So it was going on for a long time. And everybody knew, you know, it was back in the day, that's the only umpires they had out there. You know, they done it, 100-degree weather out there, but yeah, I think it's well deserved, so we all for it, so,
Okay. Thank you.
thank you, sir.
All right, I'll entertain the motion for naming these rec fields, and Specs can give us a date together, I assume, so
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
can do this properly for their well-deserved
Yeah.
recognition.
I'll make that motion, Ryan, make a motion that we dedicate the field to Jimmy Martin, Jimmy Peak, and Jimmy Overstreet.
I second that motion.
Thank you.
Any comments, concerns? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox.
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yes.
Commissioner Prairie.
Yes. I'm sorry, I have to back up to item F, I forgot it, and that's consider and approve the Scriven recreation money. We had talked about this at the last meeting, we were given $16,000, I can't find it. Do you have that number, Madam Clerk, it's 16,000 something?
That figure included, Specs and his helpers, salary. I don't know if you can include that when they pay them anyway.
Yeah, I think we had talked about, we were just gonna do it for the same amount. And that way, because I know that they, the numbers he gave us at the last meeting were well over that $16,000 amount that they've spent in the last few years keeping up that field. And we were just gonna do the same amount we did for Scriven, for Odom.
I thought that when we get for Odom, we were going to spend this money to get those fields in a safe, orderly condition. We were going to come it back over to the table. And the issue was only one point of contact was come back and talk to the state that they needed to be done. I thought that was, is that?
That's right.
Is that your understanding?
Yeah, that, he's talking about the labor to get the fields back in the shape.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And that was where do you have that number, Madam Clerk?
He's got, turned in 3 different invoices. One was for $9,798. That was for the Ace Pole Company. The other one was Trinity Electrical for the lights. That was,
No, I'm talking about the total amount.
Oh, the total?
For Odom.
Yeah, it
That
was,
was,
Oh.
that was,
total amount was,
I just want to give the exact amount.
$16,678.61.
Okay, so I make a motion that we give $16,678.61 to the Odom Recreation for them to continue Scriven. Anybody else want to run this meeting? For Scriven to continue maintaining their ball fields.
I'll second that motion.
Any comments, concerns?
Is that matter, State?
No, I think you gotta purchase those lights, I rode the station where they're taking their lights down out there, They're the same might be able to have ball field. So, you know, I just thought.
And the invoices are.
Yeah, I think you got an invoice over there.
Yeah, and we're not paying the invoices.
We don't have no control of of what they spend the money on, do we?
No.
That's strictly there.
That's right.
Okay.
The invoices that they gave us were a lot more than 16,000.
Right.
We were just given the same amount that we gave to Odom.
But they responsible for their money.
Yes, that's exactly right. And it's in my understanding, they put in some new gates and they've already had to use that because for airlift or air flight to air evac to go in
Okay.
and live flight somebody out. So
Okay.
it's money very well spent,
Right.
and not only for the ball field, but and the kids, but also for emergency.
That's right, okay.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner McCrary,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes.
All right, H, y'all keep it straight. Item H, consider and approve resolution amending the 2023 general fund budget. And she gave us that in detail. I assume everybody's had a chance to look over that.
I make the motion to amend.
Any comments or concerns? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner McCrary,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Next item I, consider and approve City of Jessup easement for water supply line for trailer park. We talked about this at the last meeting briefly, about they, at the end of Sunset Boulevard, before you get to 169, the city has water supplied to the right side of the road if you're going from Strickland Concrete to 169. And they were just wanting permission to run water through our easement to that. It used to be a mobile home park. I think it's more of a trailer park now. And the lady that's asking for this is going to incur all the costs and take care of those. And I did talk with the lawyer about it. Any ramifications for us doing this, you know, the city did give us, supply our new industrial park with water. And I don't see any problems with this, and I think it's just being in good faith with the city, allowing them to service them with water. It won't be sewer, it's just water only. I entertain a motion to accept that.
I make a motion.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments, concerns? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner McCrary,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox.
Yes.
Item J, consider and approve agreement with Wayne County Health Department for flu shots for employees' health fair. What this will be is we're just allowing the health department to give these shots. Insurance will be paying for them. We're just going to have the health department be able to give those employees the shots.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Any comments?
Yeah, the health department, I'm on that board, they do a tremendous amount of work, we don't even know about it. I'm telling you, they really do. Those days, they really get it done. And hopefully, when we get the IPN, we'll do better, because that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I saw them during COVID. I saw all of them in Baxley helping over there, administering those shots. A lot of unrecognized work being done there that we don't even realize. All right, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner McCrary,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yes.
Item K, consider and approve resolution to sell certain Wayne County properties. This is the list, everybody got a copy of that list of properties. Our lawyer, Mr. Andy, has got all of these properties to the point where they can be sold, and we just need to approve for them to be sold. And there's one parcel that has already had interest by some people in, and I would like to add on that we go ahead and set a price for that. We can either do that or we can wait on it. It doesn't matter to me, but these properties are ready to be sold as we did the other three. Normally, we don't do them all at one time because there's so many, and a lot of times we have people that want to bid on several properties, but they won't bid on several properties if they're all done at once. But the property at Cherokee Lake, Willow Road, and it would be 67B-77. And they have asked for, Ms. Denise, she sets that limit, the minimum bid limit for us at $4,112.22. However, after looking under Q Public, that property in 1994, don't hold me to that, sold for $12,000.
This is a very small lot.
It is.
Very, very small.
It is. It is. But it sold in, most recent 95 for $12,500. And it does have a, like a block house on it. And if y'all want to wait on that, that's fine with me. I'm all for getting these things. If we've got somebody interested in getting moving, we can put a minimum bid, anything higher than $4,000. If we want to say $8,000, that would cover the back taxes and expenses owed.
We do discuss that in executive session.
No, not on,
Not when it's all.
that's right, well, and not on the sale, we have, yeah, that's purchase, you're talking about purchase. Yeah, no, this is not purchasing, it's a sale.
Andy, would you give us a, kind of a summary of how we had 18 properties in one bucket, how this came about?
So the resolution is more so a mechanism to help everybody keep track of what is there available to sell. So what you see popping up on there is the legal description for every property that we know of that's in Wayne County that has gone through not only the foreclosure process, but when the county forecloses on a piece of property, they have to wait 12 months to review that property. Or if it goes back in the county name or if a private person purchases it, you have to wait 12 months before close right to redeem. Anytime the tax sale is done, the individual that the property is taken from reserves a 12-month right to redeem period where they can come pay the back taxes and reverse back and rename. So the properties you see on this list are ones that the whole process has been done. It's still in the county name. We do not have a resolution going on for probably another 6 to 8 properties that we're working on to foreclose right to redeem that has been sold at the courthouse in the last year or couple of years there, but these are right for y'all to put them on for sale whenever you know. So that's how we came up with those properties right there. And some of them do have some age on them, and some of them are a lot of them are very small. So you got some of them that are 0.1 acres, 0.11 acres, I mean, very small parcels, but that should be all in the, the county thing. But everything's been done to get them up to a point to be resold to somebody like we did these last 3 parcels. Just when they go over there,
So I make the motion that we approve the resolution to sell these parcels and also to set a value and put it up for sale, for Cherokee Lake, Willow Road, 67B-77, and put a minimum bid of $8,000 on that piece of property. Questions, concerns? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Crary.
Yes. And we will be bringing the other ones periodically back through as we go through the next few meetings. Did I miss something on
No, I was just asking if he was gonna start that bid process.
that? Yes.
Now, there'll also be a bid voted on the expense foreclosure on the right to redeem of parcel 99-70, I think it's -1. That was one of the last board that noted the sale. I think that EPS, what we have to do is get the position that we put. So the next time, let's do is approve any offers that we receive bids on all the 67-77 on that one.
Okay, and we already approved for that.
The last commission voted on the minimum bid price, and that's what we, unless y'all want to do something different, that's what we run in the paper, the minimum bid, and so we can do the bid for that.
What was that parcel number again?
The one I was just telling you, the one that we're selling, the one that y'all just voted to sell was 67.
No, I got that.
77.
99-70.
I don't want to say 99-70-6. And I think there was two parcels there, and they were next to each other. I think it's not, I got off my memory of it, but I think it's 99-70-1, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to go back to this.
All right, we've already called the roll for that one. Next item is consider and approve resolution adopting 2023 budget for ARP. We have a list of those items in our books.
Chairman, this is the auditors, when they came in and did the books for 2022, they explained to Paul and I at that time that a lot of the ARP money, at one time, you did not have to do an actual budget for it. They have now issued that you do have to have a budget for ARP money. So we're going back and amending the 23 budget. We can't go back and do the 22 budget, so that will be like a ding in the audit. He says that about every county they audit, Kel said, is getting a ding on that. But we're trying to go ahead and get it approved for 23 now is what we're doing.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, for clarifying that, because I do remember in the first part, I think that money was put in the general fund. It was not to be put in the general fund, and there was no budget made up for it. Now they're changing it, saying that, and it is still kept in a separate account. It will not be put in the general fund money, but the budget part will be in there, and we will amend that budget as necessary if we do go over that, because we still have more money that's in that.
What we actually transfer the money from the ARP checking account to the general fund. We do have to pay the actual invoices and bills out of the general fund money because we did it as a revenue loss when we originally did the ARP to get that funding. So it is, the bills and all are paid out of the general fund. We just have to amend that budget.
Y'all got all that? So have we need a motion to,
I make a motion we adopt the resolution to amend the 2022 budget for ARP.
I'll second that. Any comments? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Crary,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Item M, consider and approve purchasing of vehicles for the sheriff's office. He's always causing problems. All right, so
My job.
the issue with this, we had a similar incident months ago with a dump truck. A lot of these items, particularly equipment for road department and the sheriff's department, he does have in his budget $172,000 for purchasing vehicles. However, our purchasing policy requires us to approve the amount for the vehicle before he can purchase it. This last week, They found a car. It was, I'll say roughly $15,000 less than the 3 cars that we just ordered. And the only way he could get that money is to wait until our monthly meeting and for it to be approved. And what I would like to do, and our ordinance says that we have to wait on that, but under these circumstances, I think that the commission would be remiss not to approve a certain amount of this, a portion of this money for him to use at his discretion to be able to purchase a car. We talked about it today, not with the sheriff, but with another department. And who knows more what he needs than the sheriff himself. We already have a price on the vehicles that the 3, I think there's 3 that we got on there now to purchase. But as he said, we found one cheaper, but he couldn't get it because the money was not, he was not eligible to spend the money, even though it was put in the budget and approved, but he could not spend it. And to me, I think we need to put $100,000 of that money for his discretion, for him to be able to use on the understanding that once he spends that money within 24 hours, plus or minus whether it's a weekday or not, so that we would be informed on where the money went, and we can keep up with that money is out of your budget. And if we had an issue later on, we may rescind this ability for you to spend this money if we get tight on money in the budget.
So this would be just for vehicles, is that what we're talking about?
Yes, ma'am. And this is the thing, we've got 3 trucks ordered, had them ordered since September, and still haven't got them. So this was a Dodge Charger that was at a much reduced cost to what it would have cost. It was for $26,900. And I will always call the administrator and the chairman before I spend any money, so that it won't be done just on my word. But this would save a lot of troubles. If we could have got this car, if we could have done a fuel purchase order and got it then, the price of that car would have saved about $16,000 off of the price brand new. And it was a brand new car. But as it turned out, the dealer that was doing this put that on the internet to start a bid war, and somebody else wanted to bid anyway, so it worked out well. But I'd appreciate that one.
And I don't feel comfortable amending the purchasing policy because it is in there for a reason, for our safety as well as the taxpayer, so that if he decided to purchase these cars in December and it was approved in January in the budget, once we got to that point, we may have had some other conflict of spending, and you would not be able to spend that $172,000, but we're not in that position now, so I feel comfortable with allowing $100,000 at your discretion. And I'll put that in the form of a motion. I make a motion that we permit the sheriff to have $100,000, which of his budgeted money for the vehicle allowance, to be used at his discretion, provided he uses proper notification.
If it's over his limit, if not, since he can't spend enough of his limit, could he not maybe attempt to hold the vehicles until, he can spend that money on the budget he's not missing. Could he not put the money at 10% or whatever, not be able to accept the hold the cars until he meets with us to be approved?
Well, the only thing, and we had discussed all of this to try to figure out a way to get him that car so we could save. If he puts the 10% down, he is actually obligating us to buy that car or giving away $10,000 if we decide not to purchase it.
I know, what I'm saying is, it's a good deal. He's gonna get the car, but that will tie the car for it to get it. But by him putting whatever it is down, yeah, he'll get the car. It's just a formality of us approving.
If I can clarify, Mr. Thomas, pardon, because we did discuss that, Sheriff and I discussed it. because I have up to $15,000 limit that I can approve, that we talked about just doing that. Because if, we told him, look, ask him if he'll take a PO number, a down payment, anything, just to hold him down that car. Well, the problem was he wouldn't do it, and that's part of the issue here is these vehicles disappear so fast. We talked about it with Buddy and Elton this morning, that when they come up, in normal times, the guy would have easily probably accepted a PO from us and that would have been it. But at the times we are now, that's exactly right. Whoever's got the first cash out the door is here.
So, yeah, we have a motion.
I second it. We'll talk about
Yeah, it's my understanding this is not the only department in Wayne County to affect. You mentioned the dump trucks in the county. These are budgeted items. Shouldn't we give the administrator the authority to make these purchases? Because we can't, also we can't meet that quick to get these deals. Would you say, I believe you said $16,000, that's a lot of hot tax dollars. But it seems to me that the administrator, what police department we have, the budgeted item, we make that decision.
I am a big proponent of checks and balances. So there is a cap on that administrator spending policy for a reason. There is a reason. So, I understand the need, because when that ordinance was written, we didn't have the internet and we didn't do the instant everything. I understand that. I would be more along the lines of allowing the department head with the administrator to, with proper notification, that seems to be checks and balances. Just raising the spending limit of the administrator, I have much angst on that.
I think, if the administrator and the chair are notified and trained and saying, I think, I like the deal we're talking about. Usually, that way you can get these deals, they can get, of course, you to a certain amount of money. With proper notification, you're going to notify Paul, you're going to notify Kevin, and make sure this is what we're doing, guys, just want to let you know. I think that's enough checks and balances. You do that kind of deal versus giving, administrator, the purchase. That's what it really means.
And I think if we do it, and I understand what you said, Mike, just go ahead and get it cleared up, but I think it's by us giving the power to the, whichever department it is, we're only doing one entity, and it's not for everything in that department. It is only for the vehicle purchase, and if we do it for the road department, it will be for equipment purchase. That way, we still have the checks and balances, and it's only on specific items, and they're made aware of that, and they know the consequences. They know the stipulations that they need to get with us and notify us as quick as possible. Same stipulations we have with the administrator that we approve if we have a storm system come through and he has to go over his spending limit.
Was there such a thing as an emergency meeting to let the vote?
We can have a called meeting, but the problem is yes, if he had told the man right then, yes, I want the car, he'd have got it. But he even called, and they notified me and myself and Mr. Drawdy and Madam Clerk, all of us, and by the time that was through, it was already too late. So these things with supply and demand as bad as it is now, this may change by the end of the year, I don't know. But I just think that we as a commission need to take care of this situation that's at hand, and then if it changes, we'll change it back to the way it was, to where they have to come to a meeting. But I don't look for this year or next year for there to be any more improvement on the ability to get these vehicles. We got three trucks that we've had since September. Got a dump truck, I believe they just called us and told us they canceled our order, is that correct?
We ordered a bigger deal before we got to make what we got now, and not at the end of a year, they called and said, we can't do this.
Right.
You've got an ambulance now that we've been waiting over a year for.
Right.
It's just actually difficult.
Yeah.
So is it moved to where you're gonna buy vehicles just that are already manufactured, and you're gonna buy equipment already online from on a bid process rather than an order process?
You're trying to order something that's a year out. You can wait on it a year.
I think it's get what you can get, and it may, to me, the way I would think it happened is somebody canceled an order, or either it was previous year, like the car, and they just wanted to get it off of their lot, and you have a split-second decision to buy that. The dump truck that they had, I forget how much it was gonna save us, but we lost it because they could not get the money approved until the next meeting. And even if you call a meeting, we have to go to the paper and the radio and give them 24 hours notice, and by then you usually get it. I
There
mean,
was such a demand on dump trucks that I think we wound up paying $35,000 more than what we did.
And that was the point.
The price is, we're not losing.
From this dump truck to this one.
right.
Sure, you're right.
To me, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but to me, I think we would be better to give them specific leniency on certain items rather than over the whole budgeting process.
So we suggested that we do this for the other two departments also. Or other departments, the $100,000 to the building department to make that decision.
Well, the only ones that I've seen so far that we've had, I mean, the ambulance, we've had it ordered for a while, and that, but is the sheriff's department, and we also have ARP money for the road department. The discretionary, I think we need to give that to them as well, and that amount is, yet I don't know what, you remember what they have in their budget? That's actually the next item. And it's ARP money. So I forget where we're at. We already.
You got a motion and a second
Okay.
for $100,000 for vehicles for sheriff.
Okay. Any more comments on that? Mike and Jeff?
Yeah.
All right, call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Prairie,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox.
Yes.
All right, next item is consider and approve ARP money for the road department equipment. That money was set aside for them, and we just need to approve that money from the ARP funds.
You know how much money they're talking about?
Do you remember what that number is, Madam Clerk?
The point I'm trying to make is a lot of the equipment, dump trucks and stuff like that, you know, what I'm saying?
That's right.
So, I mean, we need to look at, it's a whole different ballgame when you're getting equipment. So,
Okay, you got the sheet, and then pass it to you.
Okay, for roads, it is, for the road department, is $875,000.
So what's our checking balance on this one?
This is just to get the ARP money from the ARP account to the
General fund?
general
Oh,
fund
okay.
for it to cover it.
Okay.
But now, we're only gonna do that as they bid out a thing, and then I'll transfer it as the bill comes in, and not one lump sum, like we're doing with the fire?
Right.
Okay.
And I think we need to do, I would think it'd have to be $400,000 for them discretionary, because they are dealing with excavator, a road grader, I think it's $350,000, is that correct?
Yeah,
With a ditcher.
The ditcher was, we put 300,000, the last one we bought was 270,000, I think, and that, you buy it, on the grader with a ditcher, you're looking at probably close to 300,000. If you went for an excavator, you would been out the same thing. The dump truck we're talking about, what was it? Dump truck, it was probably 200. Oh, that's what's going outside.
Right.
I
And
agree,
it's-
I agree with you.
Okay.
That's a good, the same principles that we talked about, being followed in the middle class.
That's right. So you're putting that in the form of a motion, or, okay?
Can you go on
Under the same stipulations that, can we do that, Madam Clerk, or do you want me to say all that again?
No, that's fine. 400,000 for the
Consider-
road department for equipment to come out of the ARP funds.
Yes, road department equipment, that will be 400,000 discretionary for the road department to be able to use upon the notification of
But we're approving 875,000 total,
yes.
because that's their ARP
Yes,
fund.
that's what's being allocated to them at this time
Well, it won't be transferred into the middle.
until,
You made the motion.
You made all that?
yes.
I'll second.
Y'all quit laughing.
Second.
Yeah, Mike, second. Any more comments? All right, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner McCreary,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah. Y'all good? Understand the stipulation? But expect some money to it. You can expect $100 for a bicycle.
What we gonna do is take what I get, and we're gonna use it as a rec department.
That's right.
That's about right.
That's about the size of it. Okay, that could be it. Item O, consider and approve fire consultant services contract. I don't know if everybody here was at the work session. We had Skip come in and I guess break out the deficiencies of our volunteer fire services and the fire services that we provide in the county. This consultant was used, not this I guess they changed the name of their company, but it was used years ago. Is a consultant services that comes in and makes sure that we comply with the fire rules, regulations, qualifications, anything that can cause your ISO rating to drop and your insurance to go up. He is in control of that, and he can come in and figure out what we need to do. He is the professional at that, and he comes in and lets us know what we need to do, whether it's we need more volunteer firemen to be trained or whatever, to be able to raise the ISO rating for your area. And this is 34,000, is that correct?
No, 25,000.
25,000, what's the exact number?
25,000, which includes travel expenses. The first payment of 10,000 would be made at the start of the contract. A second payment of 8,000 would be due when the drought study is completed, and the third payment of 7,000 when the ISO audit is requested.
Okay.
I like to suggest that we're losing our eyes for the lady right now. Like you help us get back to where we need to be.
And he's also gonna help with the new volunteer fire stations that we're currently constructing and working on. And that way, they'll all be in compliance when they're built, and we will be ready to go, and everybody will be covered in that area to a satisfactory number for our eyes. So,
I'll make the motion to approve the consultant service for $25,000.
I'll second it.
we will call it concerns.
If you weren't at the work session, the information this individual gave us was amazing. He talked about turning ponds into water sources, which help when you're outside of fire hydrants, that not only help the firemen, but it impacts, for me, it impacts your insurance premium. Wayne County had used this service for years and years. What happened, I don't know, but about 9 years ago, they did use the service. The city of Jessup has continually used the service, and they've gotten a ladder truck to lower their ISO, and they are working on a burn building for training. It was remarkable, the information this man gave, and I just thought it was $25,000 very close.
To say the least. He gave us a lot of information. And it's all to help the taxpayers in this community as a whole in reducing the response time that it takes after you hit 911 to get somebody to your location or to your house. And he's even talking about, to Commissioner Hickox's, they were talking about the ponds and things like that. We have the trucks now that they can go drop a hose in the pond, pull it out, and that's what they're talking about, the drought for 50 years for that area. They monitor that area. Donnie Ray, you might help me out. Just nod your head if I'm getting off base. 50 years, they look at that to make sure that that has not been a dried up area and it will be sufficient for them to pump water from. That is considered just like having a fire hydrant 1,000 feet from your house, and your ISO rating is much better, and it will help you with your insurance premium. Also, I did ask him the question, if somebody has a pond, would he be willing to go out and look at it if you're willing to give them access to that pond to help with your surrounding neighbors and things like that. And he did say that he could do that. It may take them a little bit longer to get to those. So to me, that's a benefit to everybody in Wayne County. I mean, if you can get the fire department there quicker, I think we would be remiss not to take advantage of that service.
Mr. Chairman, FYI, when Skip was here years ago, I've known him for a long time, we do, I don't know what the maintenance is on, but we do have a few ponds that already has, and it's called dry hydrant. That's the name of it, it's called dry hydrant, but we have a few of those already installed on the county when it first came, so I imagine we'll get to those. So we already have some of that. He's gonna take tremendous amount of money.
Right.
I'll tell you, I was pretty impressed with the way it's done. We said we had a contract with Wayne County since 2008. And I'm not saying that, I understand why we have to continue using, they have a good deal of money, how fast to continue. Needless to say, that happened in the past, we will continue in the future. We also, was $25,000 included in the evaluation of these ponds, that was a drought thing. And Wayne County's in got good code, and that's all part of this $25,000.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes,
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner McCreary.
Yes. All right, that concludes our new business. Next item is appointments. Seven Rivers, RC and D, Mr. Mickey Whittington, who resigned in April the 3rd, 2023. Does anybody have anybody they would like to recommend to appoint to that position? has been tabled, and I have somebody for that. Mr. Lowell Mallard, he has spoken with Mickey Whittington extensively and getting some background on what they do in the Seven Rivers, and
That's a good choice.
thank you.
Especially in my district.
Found his 3 months ago. Anyway, I make the motion that we appoint Lowell Mallard to that Seven
I'll
Rivers
second.
RCD. Any comments?
Set it up.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas? Commissioner Hickox?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner McCrary?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
All right, you have his information? Okay. Next item, B, Hospital Authority, District 3, Doug Ellis with the term expiring 6/30/23.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to push this off to July meeting. I spoke to Mr. Ellis. He's agreed to do one. The first one is July meeting.
Do we need to table that?
Motion to
Okay.
table, yes.
I'll second that motion to table. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hickox?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner McCrary?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
All right, item C, same thing, Hospital Authority, District 5, Mr. Pat Perry with term expiring 6/30/23.
My 3 names are Pat Perry, Keith Spell, and Bobby Lane.
And you're making that the form of the motion that we accept this. I'll second that. Any comments? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner McCrary?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox?
Yes.
In case you were wondering, these names, whether they're wanting to continue to serve or not, I think both of these are still willing to serve, but according to the Hospital Authority, we have to give them 3 names, and then they will pick the one that they want. But that's just one of their requirements. I think that's the only authority that we have like that. But we do not pick individual names. We give them 3, and they pick from the 3 names.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make a personal note that my appointment on the hospital authority, College Davis, and that was her grandson down there, Jacob. So, those 2 of us were there, as well as some Carl.
It's amazing how Wayne County people come together. Tommy Ray, you know how many people were down there?
There's a lot of people in Wayne County.
That we chose up.
And I'm sure you know, her husband Cliff, he was retired state attorney.
No. Next item, with the county administrator.
I've got one, but first I want to say how impressed I am. When I first saw this agenda, I thought we'd be here till about 10 o'clock tonight. Y'all really done a phenomenal job. I'm going to keep it to just one and try to stay short with it. Main thing I want to do is get some feedback from y'all, whether I get it tonight or not. That's kind of y'all. I've talked a little bit about, because Mike and Kevin are on the SPLOST negotiation treaty or committee. And so Mike and I have talked a little bit, and I have not been told this by any of y'all, but just the kind of thought that I hear around Wayne County is, okay, SPLOST is going out before, so therefore, the county's probably going to have a referendum sometime in November. So with that in mind, myself and the county clerk got together and we kind of looked at our financial status, and the county is in great financial situation right now. We don't need a SPLOST to carry our day-to-day obligations, but we obviously need a SPLOST for our capital projects that y'all want to get done. So with that in mind, probably the biggest project on there, the one of the biggest needs I think we have in the county is the judicial complex, the judicial center, which is courtroom or whatever that looks like. I think y'all pretty much agree, or it seems like the consensus from the board is that we're not going to move forward with a $41 million complex. So if we're not, what we're going to do look like? If we're going to scale that back down to a specific set of needs,
Can I stop you? Can we not call that judicial complex? Let's call it judicial safety and addition. Because I think that scares everybody to death when you say complex and they think about the $42 million.
I got you, okay. Well,
$42 million scares me.
Yeah, and that's, just so we're clear
Well, no,
that
I
that's.
understand that. So it's basically, our needs are courtroom, okay? So we're gonna go with that. So a secure courtroom that the sheriff can operate under. So what does that look like? Well, you know, we're not starting completely over because we've got some sort of plans that we can work on from last year. But still, if we're talking about a November referendum, you've got a 90-day resolution that y'all have to abide by. So that means I would literally have to come to y'all sometime in July with a plan. And I can't do that. So my request to y'all, or what I would like to hear y'all's feedback on, is what I would like to do is I want to ask y'all for a little bit more time, say like maybe in December, to come back with some type of plan on what we're looking at SPOS-wise. If that courtroom is going to be a level 1 project, then from there, what else are we going to look at? Whether it be, you know, I've heard the swimming pool kicked around, I know the equestrian center, and of course, we also have to do some negotiation with the cities as well to see what they're going to look at putting on the spots. If I can get back to y'all in December, Amanda and I talked to Judge Thornton, and she's clarified that we can put a SPOS on the presidential primary, which is going to take place March 12th. So basically what will happen is if we can come back with some type of plan in December, then that gives us time, y'all time, to look at it and either say yes or no. And if you say yes, then do a resolution first of January, sometime around there, it meets our deadline for a March referendum. If the voters of Wayne County decide, hey, this is a good plan, we want to move forward with it, then at that point, that also meets our timelines of our first quarter for collecting after 80 days after the vote, which would put us basically in the June. So I think it's a good timeline to look at. It gives us more time, it gives y'all more time to ensure that y'all pretty much cross your T's, dotted your I's, and you know what you're looking at, and you know what you want to put forward to the citizens. So I guess if I'm asking anything tonight, is just some type of head nod of, hey, Paul, that's not a bad idea, or let's think about it a little bit more, maybe come back in July, and we can know what's going to really happen.
Well, I don't think we have anything on, the county does not have anything on the ballot in November, correct?
That's correct.
So that would have to be a special, yeah.
Right now, you
Well,
But we could move both of those to
Yes,
March,
March.
and then we would not have to have a special election to get everybody out to the polls.
Yes.
Well, I agree, you know, Paul, we talked about, we talked about the courthouse and everything. You know my thoughts. My thoughts is whatever we need to get safe and adequate. You know, we look like we're gonna build it in 3 years, well, just know what it takes 3 years from now, and then 5 years from now, it's not adequate, so we need to look at that, we need to look at model buildings, something we added on to, we look at space. You know, that's something we need to talk about as a team, I mean, and also, you know, with this consensus that we have this engineering group to come in, I mean, that thing look like it's like, I've tried to do some, you know, maybe pull out some of that stuff, you know, and just look at it and see what we can utilize as far as the information. And that's where I'm at. That's my priority, is the courthouse and safety.
And I think that's one thing that Madam Clerk Amanda, interim administrator, we had talked about that before when she was the interim administrator. and being able to go back to the same firm, yeah, and them to be able to come, the architect, and come in and look at it, scaling it down and getting us a portion of that. Because my view from the beginning was we can build a portion of it, get it completely functionable so that everybody, that we can use it once the SPOS is done, and then if we want to add on to it later, if the taxpayers vote on it, and the SPOS passes the next 6 years, then we will be able to add on to it from there. If they don't, we already have a functioning courtrooms, offices, whatever we put on this first SPOS. And then we're not obligating the public to $42 million. We'll, whatever we decide on for the SPOS that's coming up will be completed at the end of that SPOS, and it will not be hanging on the fact that we have to pass another SPOS. I think that's unfair to the public, myself, to kind of hold them accountable to passing more than one SPOS to get something accomplished.
My thoughts. I want the courthouse safe. I want people to be able to come to the county office and to the courthouse and do their business. But what I know to be true is people are absolutely crushed by inflation. And $42 million is not reasonable to ask a population of 30,000 to bear that burden. I'm for functionality, and I'm for safety, and I'm for growth, I'm for all those things. But I'm a real estate agent. People can be house rich and cash poor. I am for us being very responsible with what funds that we get. Make it safe, but we have to make it affordable.
There's a suggestion, those SPOS, I agree with you 100%. The question I have is, we need to consider timelines for the city, rather than scribbling it. Can they wait until March or
Well, your new SPOS won't take place you will start collecting those funds to July 1st anyway.
They will still be getting free this SPOS.
Yeah, they'll
Well,
be getting
I
SPOS
understand that.
4, yeah.
I understand that, but they're planning as well, you know. So can they wait? Have we talked to them about?
No, we haven't, but what I would like to think is, keeping in mind, y'all, the commissioner, are the driving force behind the SPOS. It's a county SPOS. So the cities obviously can get involved with it, and they will get involved with it. But if anything, I would think it would give them more time as well to develop whatever plans they have. Either way, it goes back to what the clerk was saying. With this timeline, it gives us, we're still within that window that we're not going to have a lapse in SPOS income if it's voted in. Okay? So if it's voted in, come June 30, when July 1 rolls around, they'll automatically start collecting and distributing that money.
Mr. Administrator, I'd like to point out, please keep in mind that when we negotiated this process with the city, we've always negotiated on means. If Clerk Wood for the last 10 years, the last time we negotiated with the city, we had a crisis with the sewer plant. So we know that that was a need, and I forgot how many million that sewer plant cost. So we negotiated to give them a little bit more to take care of it. I think it was 37%, something like that.
That sounds right.
Yes, 37%. But when we negotiated that, that's because they had a need. Now we have a need. We expect to be reciprocated. That didn't mean we negotiated that amount for our own. And I think some took that as that's what it was, but it's not. So if you look at each year and see the full.
I've got SPOS history. I've got SPOS history.
For the last 10 years, you see that we negotiated on a need. Sometimes the city got a little more, sometimes we got a little more, sometimes older district got a little more, sometimes we need. So it's not a settlement. It's negotiating on what the need is. Now that we have a need, we need to set up as a negotiator.
And I think we are. We've already had a couple of conversations on the negotiation tactics, and I don't want to let them out, but we do need to look at the needs that are supplied from our courthouse now, and it supplies everybody in Wayne County. And you're exactly right. And that's one of the angles that we will come from, the importance of the safety, as Commissioner Hickox was talking about, the safety and the space that's needed to not only the problem, when we talked to the judges and we were asking, what do you have to have right now in safety in courtrooms? When these courtrooms are bottlenecked down into one courtroom, the taxpayers are paying for these people to sit in jail or wherever. We're paying until they can go through that court system. If you have several courtrooms, it opens that up and they go through quicker, and we can either get them sentenced or the judge can make the decision and they can go on to their next step, whatever that judge decides, and then it won't be a continued burden. Because of COVID, we've had a lot of cases that were backed up, and I think they still have some cases that have not come through since then. I don't think these people are still in jail, but either way, those cases have not gone through. And I think anybody that's ever dealt with a judge or criminal activity or things like that, the first thing you want is it to go through quickly and fairly. And I think if they have adequate courtroom space, that they will be able to come in and try that case quickly and fairly, and then take that part of that burden off of the sheriff, because he's sitting back there nodding his head because they're overwhelmed with some of the other cases that come in. And I think that's going to be the ultimate decision that's made, and hopefully we can get some groups together that are willing to help spread the word on the items that are going to be in the SPLOST negotiations. And once we get through with the cities and negotiate an agreement that we can have with them, if we can have some groups that will get together and spread that word, because word of mouth is the best thing to let them know that what we would like to see, and that money is going to be utilized in a professional manner and be able to get our best bang for our buck for the county. So I don't know if that answered your question, Mr. Administrator, but I think that's...
No, it did, because I didn't hear anybody say, no, Paul, you're not doing it. So I'm gonna take that as an affirmative, just to march forward, start planning. And I mean, look, obviously, I'm telling you, I would like to be back in front of you in December with some type of plan, but of course, y'all are gonna be hearing this as it's developing, and obviously, I hope to be even earlier than that, so that we will have a kind of plan, and we're not just leaving, skin of our teeth. That's all.
All right. Next item is with the, and this was added, I don't know if y'all noticed this, but items with the county clerk. She's the backbone of this whole board up here. She really does a phenomenal job, and she did a phenomenal job as the interim administrator, and I do appreciate that. And I don't know if all these people do, but if they had to deal with this stuff and keeping it straight, and whether it's resolution or whatever, she is the one that handles it. She's been doing a good job. And so items with the county clerk.
Okay, I've got some items that are actually budgeted, but just to bring them to y'all's attention because it's actually over some of the their amounts. Recreation, spring baseball, the MLB replica jersey, shirt and hat. We bidded approximately 850 youth shirts and hats, approximately 200 adult shirts and hats, and 200 coaches shirts and hats. We received 5 bids. I'm just going to give you the total bid, and that's for like if we purchased the 850 shirts, the 200 adult shirts, and the 200 coaches shirts and hats. Technology International was $33,048.68. BSN is $32,150. Southern Grace Creation, they are a small company, and there was no guarantee of getting the same shirts and getting them here on time. but like they just gave a price of a youth shirt of $14.31, an adult $14.78, and coaches $14.78 each. Triangle Sports, their bid was $26,743, but they were not sure if they could get the shirts here on time. Sheffield's, the total was $28,072. We recommend to go with Sheffield's because the 5% local price would have been, from the low bid for Triangles, would have been like $28,080.15. So our recommendation was to go with Sheffield's. This is a budgeted item. It's budgeted under line item athletic supplies, $6,153.1702. The other one is elections. That's the Dominion voting. Annual maintenance on all the voting equipment is $14,892.77. This is a budget, $14,892.77. This is a budgeted item. It's budgeted under line item equipment repairs and maintenance. Maintenance shop, Timmy went out and received 3 bids on closing in his building. One bid, or the 3 bids were one was from Steel Structures Incorporated for $36,946. AAA Erectors for $48,288.50. Back Steel Buildings Incorporated, $42,767. Our suggestion is to go with a low bid from Steel Structures Incorporated. This is a budgeted item. It's budgeted under line item building repairs and maintenance.
And that was 36,000.
The Steel Structures was $36,946.
And the one for Sheffield's, that total was 2,800.
Yeah, it was $28,072.
So do you need this in the form of a motion
Yes,
for us to approve these budgeted items?
yes.
Does anybody want to make that motion besides me?
We're doing the other one.
Yeah, we
Yeah, that's how
can
we've
do
been
all
doing
3
it.
of them, yes. Do you need clarification on that motion to approve these?
Just approve the budget line items
I
as
second.
presented.
Now make a motion to do what she said.
I second that motion that Commissioner Thomas said to do what she said.
All right, Commissioner McCrary,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yes.
All right, now I have y'all received your April budget reports. The April 2023 budget report compared to April of 2022, the revenues for 23 were $1,430,652.48. 2022 revenues for April were $1,942,138.15. The overall revenues are down from 2022 by 26.34%. Taxes are down by 1.55%. License and permits are down by 8.24%. Intergovernmental revenues down by 98.74%. Charges for services up by 27.55%. Fines and forfeitures down by 15.06%. Investment income up by $2,444.19%. Miscellaneous revenues up by 56.76%. Expenses for 23 for April were $1,960,096.82. 2022 expenses for April were $2,130,089.50. And the overall expenses are down by 7.98%. And then you also had your fund balances as of May 31st, 2023. Your general fund end-of-month balance is $2,822,928.03. And the lost treasury account is $11,848,932.66. SPOS 4, $6,170,274.93. T-SPOS, $3,063,255.21. American Rescue Plan, $4,627,226.33. And the revolving loan fund, $268,337.74. And that's all I have.
Explain what that is, the revolving loan fund. Maybe explain a little bit more.
The revolving loan fund is something that we have with IDA. It was like a CDBG that they got, and we have that money, and if they have a company that comes in and needs money, they can borrow that money through the IDA. We just handle the funds.
And that T-SPOS, that $3 million T-SPOS, is any of that allocated or?
Some of that is LMIG. I don't have it actually split out here, but some of it is for the LMIG that we've already received.
Okay. All right, that's it.
That's it.
All right, next is items with the commissioners. Commissioner Thomas?
Just want to inquire about the bid process for the city citizen building in North Post Lobby.
They had to move the bids out. What was it called? That was when I was on vacation, June 12th. I think they had to move them out, but I think it's actually, they extended it till June 9th. They're due back June 9th at 3 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I want to commend you. This is a long agenda and we got through, so, all the commissioners, I'd like to tear up the impeachment that I sent out.
Oh, my goodness. Let it go on the record that I'm not the one that does all the talking here. Is that all you have?
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
All right.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Yeah, I've got some constituents here that, about roads and stuff. I tell you, third district has a lot, 370 miles of roads in third district. So I appreciate the work that Mr. Elton and Buddy and y'all are doing. I appreciate the constituents for coming in tonight and expressing the issues with the road and ensuring these roads are all on the list. So thank you for your patience, for doing everything we're doing. Got you on the list, and same with you, we got you. Other than that,
A few things. I want to extend the county's condolences to the city of Jessup who lost Ray House, who was the 27-year commissioner with the city. Last Thursday, a lot of us in this room, along with 120 other elected officials, went to Coastal Pines for a forum on homelessness. We're trying to tackle that issue on a regional, as a regional initiative. They found that they can handle general homelessness and issues that got people to the streets, if their money, if their lost job. It is the mental health part of that equation that is a struggle, and it was very nice to see everyone. There were 9 legislators there. The willingness to create a task force and for the legislators to join a task force to tackle the mental illness component of homelessness. The next thing, we have all got our tax assessments, and when we started breathing again, my house went up $100,000. And I was just like, oh my goodness. I'm a real estate agent. I took my assessment If you take your improvement part of your tax assessor bill and divide it out by your square footage of your home, mine was still not what I would list my house for. As painful as it was for me to look at my assessment and see it rise $100,000, it's still not where it would be on fair market value. I know that does nothing to make anybody feel any better. All I will say to that is based on last year's millage rate. There is no, we all campaigned on fiscal responsibility, and I am still holding tight. I'm waiting for the budget numbers to come back from our auditors to see if it is possible for us to do a gigantic millage reduction. I don't know if that's possible, but that's where I'm at. So just because that assessment gave you this number on the bottom, that was based on last year's millage rate. I want to let you know that the Tax Assessors Board meets the fourth Thursday, is that correct? Thursday of the month, right here in this room. To get on the agenda, you just walk into the tax assessor's office during business hours and they will put you on the agenda. That board is made up of your neighbors, and they're assessed the same way as I am and as you are. They will hear you, and it is not a big government and a little taxpayer. That's not the way they look at this. But if you truly believe your assessment was wrong, get on that agenda. They will be more than happy to hear you. The tax assessor's office is at the end of the building. The last thing, I want to jump up and down and for Leadership Wayne. I know that we have Jonathan McCullough and Janet Collins here, and they will be graduating.
We have two more back here.
Oh, who we got? Stand up, tell me who you are.
Tatiana Jacobs,
And where do you work, Tatiana?
Hospice of South Georgia.
All right, good to have you here.
And Renee Bowman.
And Renee, we're glad you're here. This group will graduate this Friday night at, Thursday night at
6. Coastal Pines at 6.
Coastal Pines, and this is open to the public, right? If you've never done any research on Leadership Wayne, it is an absolute amazing experience. I was Leadership Wayne 2013, that's what I said, right? But, 18. And with that,
How about that, back just a second?
Y'all gonna keep on with Commissioner Thomas gonna take that piece of paper back together.
I just come back from some training, we've got a grant coming up that the government has authorized, it's $18,000 grant. So for instance, they gave us a training, your house is worth, your fair market, your full market value is $100,000, with 40% of the house. So you take $18,000 off of that, so you get taxed on $22,000. You're looking at from $400 to $500 of tax relief. It's a one-time grant. So, I want to talk to the tax association, the tax assessors, and I'm going to talk to Mr. Neese to make sure the paperwork is in. But like I said, that's going to help too. That will be implemented in 2022. So, just follow up on that. I know you got some tax bills, you didn't see it, and I questioned, and I was up there with ACCG. They said some of the counties has already applied, some of the counties has applied and just haven't went through. They haven't went through, that's why you didn't see it on the taxes. And I will follow up.
I'd just like to give a great big old thank you to the sheriff back there. Yes, I'm trying to be too. I thank you for, and the Jessup and Wayne County tactical narcotics team, taking this stuff off the street. God bless you, man.
That's the group that needs the applause. Thank you.
The other thing is, I want to say thank you to Paul Cross. Paul has kept us informed every step of the way. And I couldn't be more proud of the decision we made to make the community administrator. I am doing it tremendously. That's it.
I agree with you. I think, I'm proud of the whole commission. Some are working every day on certain projects, things to get done. And it's just amazing the momentum that's going in this commission to try to get things done. Try to help out the ISO rating for the taxpayers, to help out whatever area it is they're jumping in feet first, trying to get things done. And I'm even to the point of approving the money to be spent so that they can supply the sheriff's department or the road department. Somebody made a comment today, you can apply it all you want to the sheriff's department, but if the road department can't fix the road to get there, sheriff ain't getting there with or without a vehicle. So, and that was one of the comments and it's very true. I would like to thank Walmart. Walmart got us a grant, $2,000. He was so thankful for EMS and the part that they played in helping his father, in the passing of him. And he also wanted a portion of that to go to the new volunteer fire stations. Phenomenal job. That was $2,000 in that grant that we got. Madam Clerk, do we need to consider and approve moving that item from the ballot that we originally had in November to March, if we're going to do that for the term limits? Well, we can do it at the next meeting.
We can do it next week.
Okay, would you put that on the agenda?
We're going to do it, we'll have to do the call 90 days, and that should be around August 1st. So we'll have to look at it.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure we get that on there. Homeless meeting information. Something nobody wants to deal with, but nobody wants to see it. It's a sad situation when people get in. Some want to be in it. We had people, it's phenomenal. The mayor of Brunswick, I think he was the best speaker there. The things that they have been through. When you bring all of these cities and counties together to talk about the same situation that everybody has, and the way they've dealt with it, the way they have dealt with it wrong, the way they should have dealt with it. We get all that information and we're able to utilize that information to get the best process for us to go through to take care of it, whether it's mental health, whether it's drugs, and some of them just want to be homeless. They don't want any help. They want you to leave them alone. They definitely don't want the sheriff to come see them. And that's just how it is. But for us as a community to get together and have legislators, everybody come together, everybody willing to help, everybody to give the information, whether it's good or bad, they did this wrong, we are able to take all that information and get the best thing for Wayne County, to get them mental health, to get them drug rehab, whatever we need to do. Some of them, it's just a driver's license or an identification, just so they can go get a job. A lot of people, I didn't even know that. A lot of people, oh, they have an app that they can, that the cities can go on and other counties can go on, and they can find out where to get help in any of these situations, whether it's mental health. That's right. And if you need that, we can put that on our webpage. So that if you have somebody or you know somebody that needs help, we're not trying to turn these people out. They just pass legislation where, I know y'all all heard this before, where a police department or sheriff's department takes them to the next county. That is illegal now. Correct?
Yes, sir.
That's right. They pass legislation, so that doesn't happen anymore. Well, we didn't want to do that anyway. What we wanted to do was figure out a way to get them help and to do it without a financial burden on the taxpayers. That's the number one thing I've heard. We don't want to build them a place to live. We don't build them in Brunswick. That's not that's not the way we want to go. We need to give them help and get them to the point where they are a productive member of society, get them back where they want to be. If they want to stay homeless, there's nothing we can do about that. But at least we as Wayne County have offered them the ability to get help, get back on their feet, get, whether it's mental or drugs or whatever, to get them back to the point where they can move forward if they want to. And we also pass that ordinance to help the sheriff being able to get them there, because a lot of them, if you don't have police backing to get those people into that situation, they will not go. But with the police's persuasion, we can use that. We don't have to lock them up for weeks on end. We can go ahead and get them the help they need and get them processed through. July the 10th is the last day for you to appeal your assessment. It says on your paperwork July the 8th, but that's on a weekend, I think, or on a Friday. Anyway, I did talk to Byron, and he said July the 10th is the last day that you can appeal if you feel like it's not fair for you. Other than that, I think that's all. We have executive session. So I make a motion that we go into executive session very quickly for litigation.
We didn't amend the agenda and put that on there.
Okay. So we want to wait, I mean,
Oh, yeah, the board is very quick on the agenda anytime we leave, so please don't.
okay. Did it wait until the next meeting, or do you think?
Yeah, maybe it was kind of.
Okay.
You don't have to say that.
I'm good with that. I mean, it's, yeah. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and have it. So items with the attorney.
So much for a record-breaking meeting.
We're gonna roll that phone. We're gonna get done with it. I know there's a couple on the wrong board in the case itself, I didn't know, we had a class action lawsuit against the county as well. Class action lawsuit. The funds to pay off the settlement we came to are fully paid to the trustee at this point in time. The funds have been paid out to the claimants for about $857,963.57. As part of the settlement agreement, the paperwork that everybody signed, we kind of made sure that we put it in there that after the checks went out to the claimants, that any checks that were outstanding past 120 days would be refunded to the county. So at this juncture, we have a refund of an amount of definitely coming to the county of an amount of $78,685.40. So that was based on a metric that the trustee came up with based on how many people, what acres of land people have, and when they got paid off. So we're definitely getting that amount of money back from the trustee. There are currently right now $55,985.06 in outstanding checks that are past 130 days from the date that they were sent out. That money, we have one of two options. The first option is, since we have that settlement agreement, we can get that $55,000 back as part with the $78,000 for a total of $134,670.46. Or what the other option is because, again, the claimants are all Wayne County citizens, unless they move away. The majority of them are Wayne County citizens. The question got posed is, do you want the trustee to send out another round of letters saying that, hey, we issued a check, we can get cash, and the ones that don't cash, and give them some additional time to cash that check, and then after that, we will make it accept that. Have to give me some direction on that. I can let the trustee know which direction to go in that. It's actually relatively big. Don't get my everyone check.
So my understanding is a recap, there was some checks sent out, there's 55,000 worth of checks, it's over 180 days.
That's 120.
And what we're saying is this is checks that was not cashed.
That's right. Yeah, we made part of the settlement agreement, any checks that weren't cashed over the 120 days came out.
These are Wayne County tax
The
assets.
majority of them will be unless they move away.
And so what we're saying is we want to give this back to Wayne County, and we want to give them a second chance to say, hey, if you get your check in the mail, if you didn't. So I'm just trying to understand
Yeah,
exactly
that's
what we're
right.
talking.
Yeah, the time has passed that they should have cashed the check. Do we want to go ahead and extend that period and notify them again? I mean, I don't understand, I cash every check that comes to my house, but they have not cashed it. So do we want to extend that period or actually send them another check?
We'll send them another round of notice and say, hey, you got a check, you cash if you're gonna have it for a period of time, or they can reach out to the trustee or the system, have that check.
I will tell you this, I experienced something I never experienced before in my life. My mail was getting stolen for over 6 months. They would periodically hit my mailbox. Actually, the sheriff's department gave me back some of my checks for my company. So, with that being said, I think we should give them a second chance. And my personal feeling, because I went through that, and that's the most vulnerable feeling I've ever had in my life. Where I couldn't even, we had trail cameras, we did the sting operation, we did catch the individuals. So, with that being said, what I experienced, because I got people at 16 to get your donation checks.
How many checks are you talking about?
I don't know the number of checks, like I said, I just have the total was $55,000.
Several checks.
Yeah.
There's several different individuals. But I think the likelihood of that happening is several different people.
Don't look at me, so I want to do.
Yeah, I'd say something from the back regarding mailing out checks. I used to work for the Postal Service for 7 years. I watched mail disappear just by running through the machines. So the reality is that check had ended up somewhere else in the world, just by misplaced, missed barcode, whatever it is. So just to share that with you, it's not just stolen, but it could have been sent somewhere else. And that happens quite often. I get a number of envelopes that are not mine.
Do we have a way of electronically notifying them, or is it only by phone?
No, that's I have the information. Trustee is handling all the
Okay.
Sure how they are.
Certified mail.
I mean, I'm fine with sending them, I mean, because they were awarded that money.
How much is it gonna cost additional for the citizens of Wayne County to notify themselves?
Well, the trustee should have gotten paid as part of the settlement proceeds anyway, so there should be, like I said, other than the amount of money that we put off of $55,000 that we could get back, I don't think it would be very nominal. I mean, probably the prudent thing to do is send them another round of notice, and pay the citizens some.
Okay. So we need to vote on this? Come back
For a
to-
vote, just,
Yeah. So we're coming back from non-executive session back into a regular call meeting.
I kind of noticed
well, that would all come from the trustee who's handling the settlement fund. I'm not sure, I would assume that he's probably gonna send another letter out to the same address that he has on record there. I can check with him and see. There is a way, they should have the information online on our website, that's right, so they should have a way to update their address, if they move to a different address or something like that, to update the trustee.
Will the 120 days start over again, or will be something less?
I don't think he's gonna reissue checks, he's just gonna send another notice out saying you should have gotten a check.
Okay.
And maybe give them 30 days.
Yeah.
Will we have any negotiation in that amount of time?
Standard, typically it's 30 days.
Okay. Okay.
I feel good about giving us, at least we can say Wayne County, we got the benefit of the doubt. They got the rest of the mail, and you thought it was junk mail, and you put it up. I don't know the situation, But you know, I can feel good about it. I said, we tried everything, we can welcome this money back to them, but, and then I can feel good.
And like I said, that's on top of the 78,000, so we're definitely getting that one.
So we make a motion that we approve for the, did you say?
So let it extend, basically to extend out the time period for this section of tax.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yep. I make that form of motion, so. Any more? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox.
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner McCreary.
Yes. I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting at 7:55.
Second.